What I'm here to talk to you about today is the importance of good credit. Now, some of you may or may not already have a good sense of what credit is, what your credit score is. So hopefully, if you do have a good knowledge of credit, maybe you could pick up one or two items from today's presentation. Starting off, why do you need credit? So as you can see here, unless you're paying cash for the things in your life, you will need to have established credit. So it's like buying a house, getting phone service, renting an apartment. Most of the necessities of life, you will need to have an established credit score in order to purchase those items. Especially something such as buying a house. It's very hard unless you have some type of financial support, unless you're paying for the whole thing yourself or having a co-signer. You will need to have established credit. What is a credit score? It usually refers to a FICO score. It's put out by the Fair Isaacs Corporation. They actually have a credit model that they use, comes out every year, changes on a yearly basis just depending on what the current trends are. Scores range between 300 and 850. On each side of it, rarely anybody will have a 300 and rarely anybody will have an 850. It's usually somewhere in the high 600s, low 700s for the typical American. It gives a summary of all your credit accounts and payment history. So it's a complete picture of what how you've used credit in the past. Lenders report information to 3 different bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Lenders then use that information, report it. FICO then uses that information to create a score. Factors affecting your credit score. As you can see here, your payment history accounts for the majority of your score. It'll be things just simply paying bills on time. Another thing is amount owed. So it's the percentage of your available credit versus what your current total balances are on your credit cards. Length of credit history, how new credit. So you've the credit lines you've established recently, types of credit, and obviously the length of your credit history. So how do I establish and maintain good credit? So payment history is just simply paying your bills on time. Obviously that's lenders want to see recently how have you handled credit, and have you paid all your bills when you say you're going to. The amount owed. So lenders want to see basically 30% or less of utilization. So if you have $1,000 in available credit, they want to see your balances at about 300 or less. Length of your credit history. So they want to see that you're not new to using credit. So you have a payment history established. New credit, you want to avoid applying for credit unnecessarily. So only apply for credit if you maybe one credit card at a time, or buying a home. Don't buy a car and a home on the same time. So they basically want to know that you're using credit sporadically and not creating a bunch of accounts at one time. And then the types of credits, you want a good mix of, say, a mortgage and a car loan and a couple credit cards. So they want to see that you've used credit of multiple different types in a responsible way. Here's some common credit myths. What if I check my own credit, it'll lower my score? Basically, if you check your own credit score, you can actually check it from all 3 bureaus for free once a year. They call that a soft pull, so it doesn't actually affect your credit score in any way. It would only be lenders checking your score that would affect it. As long as I pay my bills on time, I don't need to check my credit report. Basically, the identity theft is on the rise, and actually you wouldn't, most likely wouldn't know it if somebody went in and applied for a mortgage in your name, a car loan, and you wouldn't know it until they defaulted on that, or you had a late payment. Number 3, if I just co-sign for a loan, it can affect my credit score. If you co-sign for somebody in terms of an apartment or a car, you are 100% responsible for that item. So it's just as if you were taking out the credit in your name. So you're responsible for any late payment or default on that credit item. Number 4, once I pay off a negative record, be deleted from my credit history. That's actually false. It stays on your credit report for 7 years. So any late payments or judgments or collections would stay on your report for 7 years. Number 5, I should close old or inactive accounts to boost my credit score. It actually counts against you to close old accounts. So one of the factors is obviously the length of your credit history. So if you start closing old accounts, it makes it appear that your credit history is shorter. So I don't use credit. Why is it important? So basically, it's can be a cause of a relationship strife for people. So a couple that's coming together and they decide to buy a home together. A lot of times that's the first time that they'll ever discuss credit. And if you have poor credit history, it can be a red flag to your partner. Starting a business. So if a friend comes to you with a great idea, it's something that you're really excited about and you want to pursue, you need credit obviously to start that business. So it's important that if you have an idea you're excited about, that you have the ability to get financing for it. Jobs in the government, a lot of times you would need security clearance in the higher up positions. They will not grant you a security clearance if you don't have a good credit. So, and jobs in finance, so if you work in banking, they do a background check. And there, if you have poor credit, sometimes they will not hire you. And credit provides leverage. So if you're typically homes appreciate at least 3 to 4% a year, just kind of in an average market. So it provides you leverage. So if you're, as opposed to paying rent, you're paying a mortgage every month and you're actually paying down that balance. You can deduct the mortgage interest from your taxes, and so you're taking the money you pay on a monthly basis and using it as an investment. And in conclusion, credit can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It can provide you a lot of comfort in life, and it can also be something that can be a nightmare. So, and it's becoming more necessary in today's society. So, as we get more and more separated from each other, people rely more and more on credit or a credit history in order to grant you any type of credit. So, thank you very much.